Welcome and thank you for standing by. All participants will be in a listen-only mode until the question and answer session. At that time, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star then 1. Today's call is being recorded. If there are any objections, you may disconnect at this time. I would now like to turn the call over to Ms. Linda Aberguzzi. You may begin.
Thank you, and good morning for those of you joining on the East and West Coast. Thank you very much for joining for our webinar on how to classify my item. I'm pleased to note that we have more than 65 people registered for this webinar today. My name is Linda Aberguzzi. I am an International Trade Specialist for the Marketing Communications Office for the U.S. Commercial Service at the Department of Commerce. This webinar is being brought to you in cooperation by the U.S. Commercial Service and the Bureau of Industry and Security. And I would like to welcome all participants in the export community who are joining us from all across the United States to learn how to classify their product, learn about the structure of the BIC's Commerce Control List, and learn how to use alphabetic and numerical indexes. This is just the third of a series of 9 webinars that the Bureau of Industry and Security is presenting this week. In a moment, I'll turn this presentation over to George Lowe, who's the engineer of the Office of Non-Proliferation and Treaty Compliance for the Bureau of Industry and Security. George will be available at the end of this presentation to answer your questions. His contact information can also be provided. Now, for those of you who just joined, you can still log into the webinar by entering the URL website and passcode for instructions that were sent to you by email. We do have some details to make sure that you get the most benefit from this morning's webinar. You will be able to hear this presentation via your telephone and view it simultaneously via your computer. So if you're not hooked up through both, please take a moment to do this. And if you're experiencing any technical difficulties, please press star 0 and an operator will be able to assist you. We will be taking written and voice questions. To ask a written question, we invite you to type in questions on your screen as they occur to you. On the upper left-hand side, there is an icon with the letters Q and A. You can click on that icon and type in your question anytime during this presentation. Type questions which are not answered during this webinar will receive a personal answer via an email. Now, to ask a voice question, please press star 1, where an operator will assist you with your question. Now, in addition, for those of you who want to get a copy of the PowerPoint presentation slides from this webinar, there is also another icon on the upper right-hand side of your computer that looks like there are 3 pieces of paper, one overlapping each other. If you place your mouse's cursor over that icon, you can download the PowerPoint presentation slides to your desktop or to another folder. Now, in addition, all listeners will be provided with information for any individual file, counseling, expert assistance, or market research. And that, for those of you who just joined us, you can still log on into our Internet conference. And now, I'd like to introduce live online George Lowe, who is the engineer of the Office of Non-Proliferation Treaty Compliance for the Bureau of Industry and Security. George, thank you very much for joining us today.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm George Lowe, and I hope you all sitting in a large, comfortable office on the other end, and I'm in a little tiny cell. I guess I have to think I'm in a small radio station broadcast. Okay, and a little bit about myself. I'm George Lowe. I'm an engineer. I have been working in the Bureau of Industry and Security for 22 years. And with the combination of being an engineer and talking about federal export control laws, I can quickly put you into sleep. But don't worry about that because I have proved my capability already in front of my kids and my wife. And the one good thing about webinar is you can do whatever you want. So if you're falling into sleep, there's no way I can catch you. So be relaxed. Okay. Now, our subject is how to classify an item. In our regulation, item means commodities or software or technology. Only these 3 things. No more, no less. Okay, let me repeat. Item means commodity, software, or technology. So we'll try to learn how to classify an item. Now, I will cover the Commerce Control List, abbreviated as CCL. And inside CCL, we have many ECCNs. That means Export Control Classification Number. We have roughly 500 ECCNs. And inside the ECCN, we also will tell you the reason for controlling those ECCNs. And with the ECCNs and Commerce Country Chart, we'll be able to determine a license is required or not. And then we'll also, of course, talk about classification of items and also tell you how to classify not just commodity, but how to classify technology and software. Okay. The Commerce Control List is a list of dual-use items under our jurisdiction or under Commerce jurisdiction or under Bureau of Industry and Security jurisdiction. And we list items by the ECCN number, Export Control Classification Number. Again, we have about 500 ECCNs, and about 350 of those ECCNs came from international export control regimes. So many like-minded countries have the same control on those about 350 ECCNs. The other about 150 ECCNs are what we call the unilateral controls. That controls based on U.S. government needs. In the beginning of the ECCN or the Commerce Control List is in our regulation EAR, Export Administration Regulations, Supplement 1 to Part 774. Okay, at the beginning of the Commerce Control List, we have two index. We have alphabetical index, which lists almost all the items controlled in the Commerce Control List. Then we have another numerical index or alphanumerical index. That's a list of ECCNs, all the ECCNs inside the Commerce Control List. Then in the list, we separate into 10 categories, and we'll talk about these individual items later. And then each category will be divided into 5 product groups. And when we say entry, we mean Export Control Classification Number, or ECCN. And then at the end of Commerce Control List, or Supplement 2 to Part 774, we have General Technology Node and General Software Node. We'll cover that later. Usually by now I will ask you, do you have any question, but I will do the question at the end of this talk, okay? But you can write it down your question anytime you want. So what is the ECCN number? Again, that is abbreviation for Export Control Classification Number. That will identify the items we want to control. And always have 5 digits for each ECCN number. For example, in here you can see 3A001, 5B992, all are 5 digits. And all these are dual-use items. When I mean dual-use item is items, they have both military or nuclear, missile, chemical, biological weapons applications, and they also have commercial applications. So dual use means commercial and military or proliferation applications. And you probably know State Department control not dual use items, they control munition items. Those items only have military applications. Then you may have heard about NRC, Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Their headquarters in Rockville, Maryland. They only control nuclear use items. They don't control dual use. They control items inside of nuclear reactors. And then also we have Energy Department. They control nuclear technology. Again, they don't control dual use. They only control nuclear technology. And inside of each item or ECCN number, we also tell you the reasons why we control them. You will see that later, more later. The typical structure for every ECCN number, again, is 5 digits. 5, or I call 5 places, could be digits, could be A, B, C, D, E. And the first place is in here you can see 0 that we call the category. And the category you will see is from 0 to 9. category. And then we will have product group from A to E, A, B, C, D, E. And then we have 3 digits. It's type of control. Okay, well, let's talk each of this now. The first place is the category. We have 0 to 9. And the first category we call the 0 is miscellaneous or some nuclear items. Miscellaneous means they don't belong to any other category. Each category represents, you may call one industry, okay? So the category 0 doesn't belong to any specific industry. So in category 0, we have things like the crime control items, like the shotguns or handcuffs. Shotguns in 08984 and handcuffs in 08982. They don't really belong to other industry like category 1 to 9. So we put in category 0. And then we have category 0 also has a few nuclear items, okay, like ultrasonic testing equipment, just a few in category 0. Now, category 1 is we call the materials category. And it's including, aluminums, titaniums, also including biomaterials such as toxins or bacteria. So category 1. And later you will see each category, not just the end items, but also have production equipment. For example, category 1, you have 1B350. They are the production equipment for chemical, biological, items, such as valves and pumps, or some reactors to produce biomaterials. Those are in 1B350. Category 2 are material processing equipment. We kind of missing equipment here. We should add material processing equipment. And these are equipment may be producing material, but most likely this equipment are general purpose equipment, such as machine tools. They are general purpose because they are able to use for category 3 electronics. They're also able to use for category 9 aerospace, for example. So category 2 are general industrial equipment, or a machine tool are in 2B001, or you may have a furnace in category 2. A furnace are 2B226 because they're general purpose equipment. They could be used for electronics, could be used for producing sensors, So they are category 2. And category 3 are electronics. It's pretty clear, any kind of electronic integrated circuits in 3A001. You also have electronic manufacturing equipment in 3B001. They are manufacturing equipment for producing electronics, like integrated circuits, or semiconductor manufacturing equipment, also in category 3. Then category 4 are computers, could be analog computers, digital computers, or hybrid computers. If you don't know they are digital or analog computers, they're hybrid computers, or in category 4. And category 5 is the only category we have 2 parts. So if you see one ECCN number 5A002, for example, you couldn't find in category 5, maybe because you only looked at part 1, you did not look at part 2. So 5A002 happened to be in part 2. So when you look anything in category 5, make sure you look both part 1 and part 2 before you say you cannot find it. Okay, part 1 are telecommunication equipment, very clear, and switching telephone switching system are in Category 5, Part 1. And Part 2 are information security systems. Many we call encryption items in Part 2. Now, Part 1 also covers the telecommunication fiber optic cables, or in there. And I should tell you this Category 5 Part 2's control is very different than any other categories. So if you're interested in that category, you will look in different parts. For example, they are in Part 742.15. They are related to Category 5, Part 2. Yeah. Let me repeat myself. The control on Category 5, Part 2 or Part 742.15 is very different than any other export control. Okay? And people are specialized in that. And if you have questions related to our encryption, you can contact our encryption office. The phone number is 202-482-0707. And Category 6 are sensors and lasers. And the sensors, for example, like cameras, they are sensors or magnetometers or gravimeters. Magnetometers means measure how strong is the magnetic field. Gravimeters are measure the gravity of the Earth or any kind of gravity. They are in Category 6. And also cameras are 6A002. They have got night vision cameras, so in 6. And lasers, and here lasers are very high power lasers or very precision lasers are in Category 6. And Category 7 are navigations and avionics, and most of this equipment are carried in the aircraft. And we have inertial navigation system in Category 7. And we have accelerometer in Category 7. Accelerometer measure the acceleration, then you can know the speed of the airplane based on how much acceleration accumulated, then you know the speed. And Category 7 also has gyros in 7A002. These gyros are not those things you like, very tasty Greek gyros. These are aircraft gyros. These gyros will tell you the orientation of the aircraft, like the pitch, the aircraft tip forward or back will call pitch, or the aircraft tip left and right, that's called the roll, or the aircraft may swing left to right, that's called the yaw. So all this motion will be indicated by the gyro. It's in Category 7. Of course, Category 7 also have production equipment. Those equipment produce the gyros or produce accelerometers, such as they call the rate table. The table has a very precision rotation. So you use this table to test your gyros. So that in Category 2B. And then we have Category 8 is marines. Most of these marines are underwater marines. These are high, very, very difficult product because underwater has high pressure. So when you have any underwater sensors or something, it's very difficult to build to prevent the leakage. So that in Category 8. And also Category 8 covers some special vessels, like the hovercraft. These vessels will blow out the air downward, so will lift the vessel a little bit, make the vessel much easier to move. Those are also in Category 8. In Category 7 are aerospace and propulsion equipment. The propulsion equipment such as the jet engines, and some engines could be for jet or for marine also in Category 9. And Category 9 also cover a lot of production equipment, which are special equipment such as wind tunnels. You use that to test the jet engine or test the aircraft. They're all in Category 9. And each category also covers some materials also. If a material inside the category, those are the special materials only used for that specific category. Such as synthetic foam, there's a very special glass sphere that only used for marine. So that is in category AC001 because that synthetic foam material only used for category A marine applications. In the category 1 material such as aluminum or titanium, they are general purpose material. They are able to, or they have applications for all other categories, such as aerospace or computer or whatever. Yeah. Okay. The next slide is talking about the second place in the ECCN number. We call it a product number or product code, A, B, C, or D. The A usually means end product. And sometimes it's difficult to identify what is the end product. Then you look B, C, D, E first. B covers testing equipment, inspection equipment, production equipment, or manufacturing equipment. C are materials. These are the materials, are special materials only for the category. In front of the C, like I said, AC is a material only for marines. 9C is only materials for the propulsion. Category 9. Okay. And only Category 2 and the Category 7 don't have product C material because we don't find a special material for Category 2 or special material for Category 7. So we don't have 2C or 7C. Then the product group D is software. Any kind of software, use software, production software, development software. And this software could be in the high-level language, like C language. You can read that software. And the software could be in the low-level language, could be the machine language, A, B, C, D, or plus, minus, or zero. I shouldn't say plus, minus. 0 or 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. Those are the machine language. No matter the software in high level or medium level or low level language, we control it. So when we say control a software for semiconductor production equipment, you don't have to worry about the level of the software. We all control. Then the product group E is technology. The technology usually could be the use technology, development technology, or production technology for certain things. Could be for commodity, could be for software. Okay? And the product group only A, B, C, D, E, no more, no less. The third place in the ECCN number is the is the number, okay? And then this number has something to do with the reason for control, okay? And the third, fourth, and fifth places in the ECCN number, I call it 100 series. Like 0, I call it 0-100 series. 1, I call 100 series. Or the third place, 9, I call it 900 series. In the 0-100 series, we have 001 or 010 or 0210. All these are 0-100 series. And this 100 series ECCN numbers are all controlled for national security reasons. So all the products or software or technology in the 0100 series are controlled for national security reasons. And some of these items may also control for other reasons identified below the 0100 series. So let me repeat. All 0100 series items are controlled for national security reasons. Some 0100 series items also controlled for reasons listed below, such as missile, nuclear, or crime control, or chemical. Okay, it may be. Some 0 items may also control for other reasons listed below. Now let's talk about 100 series items. All 100 series items are controlled for nuclear technology reasons. Some 100 series items are also controlled for other reasons listed below. May also control for nuclear, may also control for chemical, biological, may also control for short supply. Okay. Now the same statement goes to 200 series items. All 200 series items are controlled for nuclear non-proliferation reasons. Some 200 series items may also control for other reasons listed below, such as chemical, biological reasons, or regional stability reasons, or short supply reasons. Okay? All 0, 100, 200, 300 series items are controlled by international export control regimes. For example, 000 series are controlled by international export control regimes called WASSNA, WASSENAAR. WASSNA export control regimes headquarters in Vienna, Austria. It's kind of funny I spell it wrong, right? Because I went there twice a year. Yeah. WASSNA, WASSENAAR. You know, that's this European words, a lot of times they like to repeat the vowel. Actually, this WASSNA came from Netherlands. Okay, Netherlands. If you see some of your friends came from Dutch, you will see their name many times have repeat vowels inside. And we have the word WASSNA because that's a little town outside of Hague. Hague is the capital of Netherlands. Outside Hague, the little town called WASSNA. When we start this regime, we negotiate in WASSNA. I went to Hague many times. And at the end of the regime, only till the end of the regime, nobody knows what should we call the regime name. We call that new foreign all the time for about 2-3 years. We call new foreign. So at the end, we decided to call the regime WASSNA. We use that little town name, WASSNA. Now we moved the headquarters to Austria, to Vienna, Austria, and we still use the little town name from Netherlands. Now the Category 1 series are items controlled by the International Export Control Regime called MTCR, Missile Tech Control Regime. They don't have a headquarters. They meeting in different various capitals at various times. And all items in the 200 series came from International Export Control Regime, NSG, Nuclear Suppliers Group, headquarters in, again in Vienna, Austria. All items in 300 series came from AG, another international export control regime. AG stands for Australian Group. They meet in Australia once a year. So all this we call multilateral export control items. Okay. Then all the 900 series are unilateral control items. Unilateral means U.S. government. The 980 numbers are anti-terrorism reasons and crime control reasons, such as 08984 are shotguns, control for crime control reasons. And you also have short supply, like California Western Cedar are controlled under 900 series. And you also have UN sanctions, like that shotgun shells under 08986 that also control, besides crime control, also control for United Nations sanction reasons against North Korea and Rwanda. In case you don't know, Rwanda is spelled as R-W-A-N-D-A. So under UN sanction. And also we have regional stability reason for control under 900 series, such as 28983. That's control for the regional stability. Those are the explosive detection equipment. We believe we control that can stabilize some regions, such as India and Pakistan or in the Middle East. We also control a surreptitious listening device. This sort of stealing people's conversation, and we control this item because we don't want husband and wife, they suspect each other. So we can also listen to the terrorist conversation also. Yeah, that's why we control this item. Sort of anti-terrorism reason, but we have special reason for control instead of calling anti-terrorism. Yeah. All right, that's all the reason for controls. And you probably think we already have too many reasons. Yeah, we do have many, many reasons. Now, here's just a typical example about a ECCN number or in different products. In here, we just say, pick up 38001 as an example. And you know those are integrated circuits. 3 means electronics. A means an end product. In here is integrated circuits. And 000 series, you know, is controlled by VASNA. That means VASNA arrangement. That means for the national security reason. Yeah, VASNA only control items for commercial applications, also for military applications, dual use. Okay. And nuclear supply group control dual use items for commercial applications and nuclear bomb applications. And MTCR, missile tech, reason they control dual use items for commercial applications and missile applications. And AG group, Australian group, control dual use items for commercial applications and chemical biological weapons applications. Okay. This example is 000 series, control for commercial applications and military applications. And 3B, the product group B means production equipment. Here are semiconductor production equipment, the production equipment for 3A products, 3A001 products. 3C001 are special materials used for semiconductor production process. Okay. Then you have 3D001, are software used inside of semiconductor manufacturing equipment, for example. Or some software you use to design wafers. Okay, that would be in 3D001. Again, this is 000 series. Again, it came from VASNA arrangement. It's controlled because they have both commercial and military applications. Then you have 3E001. The E stands for technology. So here are development, production, or use technology for 3D001, for 3C001, for 3B001, and for 3A001. And this, we should say, are required technology. The technology are required for those equipment. For example, you may have a special equipment to tighten the bolts inside of semiconductor manufacturing equipment. You know, you use that bolt tightening equipment, but we don't think that is required to achieve the difficulty of the items we control. Therefore, we don't control bolt tightening equipment for semiconductor equipment. Okay, but we do control those robot-looking equipment to manufacture the semiconductor equipment. Now here we give you a real example. In here is 0A979. Now you see the 0, that means category 0 is sort of a miscellaneous category. It doesn't belong to any other industries such as aerospace. It doesn't belong to material processing. It doesn't belong to semiconductor equipment. It doesn't belong to marine, so it's 0 category. The item we're talking about is police helmets. Okay. Now the product group A, because it's an end product, it's not production equipment, it's not software, it's not a material, it's not technology, so it's product group A. Okay, it's because it's not B, it's not C, it's not D, it's not E. And here you read the heading. This blue section we call the heading. 0A979, police helmets and shields and parts, not elsewhere specified. So that means these parts, if you don't see specified in any other ECCN number, then the helmet parts is belong to here. Okay? So this is called a heading. Always contains the ECCN number and always contain the brief description of the item we want to control. I say brief description because always at the bottom we have a thing called items. In the section of items, we'll tell you a detailed description. So the heading only gives you a brief description. But in this example we give you don't have this detailed description. Okay, this in every ECCN number we have, I call it 4 segments. The first segment we call headings. The second segment we call license requirement. It's the second segment in ECCN number. This one tells you the reason for control. Also tell you the column inside of commerce country chart. So based on the reason for control and based on the column, then you go look the commerce country chart. Only look the column identified in this ECCN number. Then you look the country you want to export. Then you see under this specific column, is there X or not? If there's X, there's a license required. If there's no X, then no license required for this specific country. Okay. The third segment. Now let's look at the next slide again. We'll go back to the previous slide, okay? The third segment tell you the license exception. You look this segment only after you know a license is required. Let me repeat. You look the license exception only after you know a license is required based on certain reasons. Usually based on the ECCN reason, based on reason of control reason, based on the commerce country chart. You find out a license is required. Then you look the license exception. And in here, we only list the license exception related to this ECCN number. That's why we call these three license exceptions, LVS, GBS, GIV, CIV. We call them a list-based license exception because this license exception based on the ECCN number inside the Commerce Control list. So we call it list-based license exception. We have many other license exceptions inside of our Part 740. Many of those license exceptions, we call them transaction-based license exception. They may apply to many other ECCN numbers. They are based on the type of transaction you have. Now the next segment in the ECCN number, we call the list of items controlled. In this segment, in this example, you don't see at the bottom. In other ECCN number, you will see at the bottom we have a section called items that will give you a detailed description of the items we controlled under this heading ECCN 08979. But in here, it just happened we don't have detailed description. All the descriptions is already contained in this heading. After you find out your item is described under this detailed description, then you should look the unit, the related controls, the related related definitions, and the items, related items, okay? Related means, for example, related control may list many other ECCNs related to this ECCNs. So you should look the other related ECCNs in order to finally determine why not in the other ECCN, why should be in this ECCN. If you don't look at other related ECCN, you won't have the assurance about your items definitely under this ECCN. Okay. So please read all the related ECCNs. And related definitions is also important because in here we will identify certain specific definitions only relevant to this ECCN number. Okay. For other definitions may relevant to more than one ECCN number, we put them in Part 772. Okay. Those definitions are relevant to more than one ECCN. And units, why you should look the units inside this segment, because you have to identify the units inside of your export license applications, because that's required when you submit export license applications. You have to tell us the unit, okay, to identify how much do you export. All right. Now, usually in here, I would say if you don't have any question, I'll go back to the previous slide about we have more reasons of control. In here, we don't have time to explain everyone. Usually, I will ask people which one you're interested. I'll explain in detail for you. And in here, you can see we have anti-terrorism on the top. We have chemical, biological, I already talked about. Crime control items are related to the items used by our policemen, such as taser, gun. You know, you shoot out will pass the electrical shock to the criminal and will paralyze criminal for a very, very short time, maybe 50 seconds. And taser is controlled in under 08985. Okay, chemical, biological, convention. Very few items under this CB. And then we have encryption items under 5A. Okay. We have 5 unconventional items only apply to American states, North, South American states, and some other ones. Okay, if you have more questions on any of this, you can ask me later. Now, if you cannot find your items in any of the clearly described ECCN numbers, then maybe, just maybe, your item is ER99. Now, ER99 are items subject to our regulation, EAR, Export Administration Regulations, or I can say subject to Commerce Department, or I can say subject to BIS, Bureau of Industry and Security. Okay, items subject to us but not explicitly described under any ECCN number, then it may be ER99. So some people like to put down their product. If they don't know their product, they just put down ER99. They think it's an easy number. Is it an easy ECCN number? No. Remember, ER99 is the most difficult ECCN number. Why it is the most difficult ECCN number? Because it says not elsewhere specified. Again, not elsewhere specified. What does that mean? I told you how many ECCN number we have. We have about 500. So if you decided your item is ER99, that means your item is not one of those 500 ECCNs. Are you sure your item is not one of that 500 ECCNs? Therefore, it is the most difficult ECCN. I'm not kidding, because that happened to me many, many times. I find many ECCN, people ask me a product. I find many ECCNs very similar. Maybe 5 ECCNs are very similar. I have to go through each of that 5. And those 5 may not be my expertise, right? So I have to talk to my colleague. Make sure they are not that 5 or 6 ECCNs before I determine it's ER99. And I can tell you many times I spend more than 1 or 2 hours. Many times, or more than 1 or 2 days. And sometimes you put it off for 1 or 2 days because I have a question in my mind. Okay. So remember, ER99 is the most difficult, not only to you, but also to me. And you know I've been working in this field for 23 years. Yeah. Okay. Now, next slide. NLR, no license required. Again, people a lot of times find out they're not sure it requires license or not. They just put down NLR, no license required. I think they want to make their boss happy. Again, I have to tell you, NLR is the most difficult designation, because you don't know it's 2B001, you don't know it's 38001, or you don't know it's 9C001. You don't know those. You have to find they are not those. No license required, then you put down NLR. There are 2 situations, no license required. One situation, no license required, is because your item is not listed in our Commerce Control List. That means your item not listed, but under our jurisdiction. That means your item is ER99. If your item is ER99, you don't have to check Commerce Control. You don't have to check Commerce Country Chart. And then you make sure there's no other general prohibition cover your transaction. Other general prohibition means general prohibition number 4 to 10. Okay. This general prohibition is in our Part 736. We have 10 general prohibitions. This I like that 10 commencement. That means you tell you don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But fortunately, we allow you to drink and dance. Yeah. But don't do that at the same time. You do that at different time. Yeah. So if your transaction is not under general prohibition 1 to 3, which are commerce control list related, and your transaction is not under general prohibition 4 to 10, they're end use transaction related. So you're out of 10 general prohibitions, and you're ER99, then NLR, no license required. Okay? And so one situation is ER99, and another situation reading here when an item is listed on the CCL but doesn't require license to the destination. Why? Because there's no X marked in the commerce country chart. So let me repeat. You remember first you determine ECCN number, export control classification number. Then you find the reason for control. And then you look the reason control under which column, column 1, column 2, or column 3. Then you look the commerce country chart. Only look those columns identified in your specific ECCNs. And for those few columns, if you don't have X in the row of the country you want to export, no X there, then, and you don't meet or you don't violate general prohibition 4 to 10, then you have no license required. Okay? So two scenarios. The first one is ER99 and not against general prohibition 4 to 10. Second scenario is you are not ER99, you do have an ECCN number, and then you look the commerce country chart, no X in those columns you're supposed to look for the specific country, and you don't violate general prohibition 4 to 10, then no license required, NLR. Okay, you have to put the NLR in your shipper's export declaration or automated export system, AES system. Okay? And if you have ECCN number, you have to put that ECCN number in the AES system. Okay, how to get an ECCN number? You can ask the manufacturer, but usually they know better, or you can do the self-classification, or you can submit a formal classification request to us. Which we would prefer you to do? Of course, 1 and 2, because we have to do nothing. But we don't recommend you do 1 and 2. Okay, because if you're not sure, we would rather you do number 3. Ask us. Okay? I'm just joking about you do 1 and 2 because we don't have to do anything. If you do 1 and 2, you have to take the responsibility. Okay? For example, one person say his commodity is ER99, no license required. He export, and then the custom caught him, or our export enforcement agent caught him or her. Then he or she has to take the responsibility, okay, to justify his or her actions. Okay, ask manufacturer is a good idea, not only because they may know the ECCN number, also they can tell you many technical information about the product you want to export. Okay, because remember many ECCN numbers have technical parameters. Okay, so you should know the technical specification of the product. Now, self-classify, if you think you know, you go ahead, classify it. And you can also ask your company's engineer, your own company's engineer. They probably know the technical parameter better than you. You have to compare your product's technical parameter with the ECCN number technical parameter. If you don't know, you request us. I'll tell you how to request us. Okay, self-classification. First, you have to, I believe the first thing you have to know is you should know the application of your product. For example, you know your product is used for the aircraft. So most likely you check category 9, aerospace. You don't check category 2, general industry equipment. You don't check category 1, materials. Right? Or if you know your product application is for electronics or for semiconductor equipment, you will check category 3, electronics. If you know your product's application is for telecommunication, you go to check category 5, right? So know the application of your product. And then, of course, you can look our index. Remember I said at the beginning of Commerce Control List, we have alphabetical index, list all the product we control. So you look the index, and you probably will find more than one ECCN number, and then read all the relevant ECCN number. Okay? And then you look the ECCN number. First, you look the heading. If you don't meet the heading, you don't have to look the detailed description. Okay? So first, make sure your item meet the heading, and then look the item. Under the fourth segment I mentioned, there's a section called items, and there's paragraph A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or whatever. And you list the detailed description. And your item has to meet one of the detailed description. Okay, so that's how you classify your item. And of course, you have to read the definitions. If other terminology under quotation mark, then you should check they're either under local definition, which will be identified inside its ECCN number, or there will be global definition that will be in Part 772. Okay. And when you read the definition, when you read any term under quotation mark, don't ask your Harvard University professor. We don't care about Harvard University professor, what they say. Under quotation mark, only read our definition, 772. Okay. And other useful guideline I already mentioned, read the Part 772 definitions. Oh, also you read 770 interpretation. Here we give interpretations for some interpretations are global. Global, I mean, you may apply to multiple categories. Some interpretation here are for specific ECCNs or for specific categories. Right now in my mind, for example, we have interpretation tell you if you export a system, I might say integrated system or one equipment, and if this equipment have a controlled component inside the equipment, we don't control the component inside the equipment. We control the system. So if you export the equipment, find out the equipment ECCN number. You don't have to worry about each component inside of the equipment. Those ECCN number, you don't care. But if you export the component by itself, then we need the component ECCN number. Okay? So this is identified in our Part 770. There's one interpretation talk about this. And again, mention the NES, not elsewhere specified. Okay? Take this word very conservatively. Don't take it liberally. Okay? Make sure they are really not in all those relevant ECCN numbers. Okay? Then you look this ECCN number, or then you look this ER99. And also look technical notes. Again, sometimes we have things exclude item. In the item description, you read it, you find out your item is caught in the detailed description. But then maybe at the bottom it will say, yes, your item is caught, but we exclude this item. For example, in 2B001, we catch many different machine tools. But then you can find out there's no saying for contact lens machine tool, we don't control. Yeah. The description caught contact lens, but then because the description is kind of general, but then we say we exclude contact lens making machine. Okay? So you read many technical notes to describe what the words means or may exclude certain machine. Okay, so far we sounds like we're talking about commodity only, but not really. We also could apply to software and technology. There are a few exceptions. We describe the technology technology or software in detail in certain ECCNs. For example, coating technology in 3E003. You know, E stands for technology, right? 3E003. We clearly describe the coating technology in there. But most technology were controlled because their related commodity are controlled. Okay? So the development, production, or use technology required for the development, production, or use of a controlled hardware or controlled commodity are also controlled. Okay? So most technology software are controlled in that way. A few are described explicitly in certain ECCNs. Let's look at the next one first. General technology, no. Technology required for the development, production, or use of controlled commodity are also controlled, even if this technology are usable for uncontrolled product. Okay. I should repeat. Repeat not because you don't understand. Repeat just because it's important. Okay. Technology required for the development, production, or use of a controlled commodity or hardware are also controlled, even if the technology are applicable for uncontrolled product. Okay? So most technology are controlled based on the general technology, no. Let me make an example. I already said machine tool. Let me use that again. I think your ears are adapted to that already, right? Okay, machine tools are controlled under 2B001. 2 are general industrial equipment. B means production equipment. 001, 000 series means control for national security reasons or by Wassenaar Group. Okay, so the technology required for the development of 2B001 controlled machine tools are controlled under ECCN number 2E001. Similarly, production technology required for the production of a controlled 2B001 machine tool are controlled under ECCN number 2E002. Okay. The same thing for the use technology. Even those technology may be applicable for a machine tool decontrolled by 2B001. It's a decontrolled machine tool. So the technology required for controlled machine tool are controlled, even if it's applicable for uncontrolled machine tool. Okay? Now, let me talk about the general software node. sometimes people confuse. General software node is totally different. Even in basic concept, it's totally different than general technology node. So don't compare these two nodes, general software node with general technology node. They are totally unrelated. Even in basic concept, they are not related. Okay? General software node actually is applied to a general, applied to a license exception TSU. Okay. In order to use license exception TSU, you have to make sure your software is sold on the over-the-counter or by internet order or retail sale. Okay. That means it's not a special order software. Okay. And then the software has to be designed in a way any user can install the software without the detailed consultation by the software manufacturer. If your software meets this condition, and also in that sense, your software is mass market software. Again, mass market software, sell by retail, installed by the end user without major help from the software manufacturer. Then your software is eligible for license exception, TSU, if they are going to non-terrorism supporting countries. Terrorism supporting countries are Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Sudan, and Syria. Okay? If not go to those countries, general software or mass market software is eligible to use TSU. Now, I'm not talking about encryption policy. I'm not talking about encryption software. Okay? Again, for encryption, go look Part 742.15 and also look Category 5, Part 2. Let's quickly go through exercise because I want to save time for your questions, okay? Because, for example, the first exercise, a milling machine, you may not export milling machine, okay? Of course, milling machine, first you should know the application. Application cut metal. And cut any kind of metal, therefore is general purpose equipment, you look Category 2. And then you also look remember the alphabetical index in front of Commerce Control list. You will find the machine tool is under 2B001, 2B201, 2B991, couple one. So review all that. And in the machine tool, in here, for example, paragraph B here says machine tool for milling. And you see they have paragraph 1A, 1B. And in between, at the end of 1A, it has a word called AND. So that means in order to catch this milling machine, you have to satisfy not just paragraph A and the paragraph B, okay? Now then you also have B2. If your machine is decontrolled or not caught by B1, you also have to look B2. B2 says 5 or more access. So if you have 5 or more access, you don't worry about the accuracy. Accuracy in 1A has accuracy. But in B2, you only look access. You don't care accuracy. Okay? So you be careful about this. When you look B1, you look AND. If you look B1, it's not in B1, you have also look B2. Okay? And in B2, you also have to look if not in B1, B2, you also have to look B3. Okay? That's how you look at. Now, the second example is zirconium or magnesium. In here, the word powder is important because we're not talking about solid form. We're talking about powder now. So just, of course, you look our index again, alphabetical index at the beginning of Commerce Control list. You will find zirconium, magnesium, again, in multiple ECCNs. Okay? And in this one, just happened to be the wording we give to you here is come from 1C011. 1C011. 1 because it's general purpose material, C because it's material, and 011, again 0000 series, control for national security reason, and may also control for other reasons, okay? And in here, you look paragraph B, you're talking about has to be 99% purity, and also talking about 60 micron size. So you need both parameters, okay? And people may say, hey, what happened to the hafnium? In here, we control hafnium, it's same as zirconium. It's crazy, right? Hafnium is not zirconium, but in here we say hafnium is like zirconium. So when you calculate this 99%, if you have this hafnium, it's included in 99%, okay? See, this here says note about the encapsulate. So we don't care how you encapsulate this material we control, right? So you should read the note. Because people say, hey, I have aluminum outside of the magnesium, therefore the magnesium is not 99%. That's wrong. We don't care about your outside aluminum. We only care about the inside encapsulated zirconium or magnesium, okay? So it's important to read the note, technical note and the note. The last exercise is a polygraph. Again, you check the index. You can very quickly find out 38981, and this is an easy example because the polygraph is only in 38981. So the index almost tells you the whole story, but don't do that. Please go still read the ECCN number and read the related software control and technology control because almost all polygraph equipment has software, okay, and the software is controlled under 3D980. This hardware is 38981. Okay, thank you for listening. That's all my, I'm sorry, quickly go through. How to classify your ECCN, I actually already covered, right? You have to know the application, you know the technical parameters, you compare with index. And give us a picture is very important, okay? And then SnapR is not really my expertise, but just quickly tell you, if you want to submit commodity classification request, or you want to submit a license application electronically, and actually right now it's required electronically, the first time you have to do it, you have to apply the access. Access to our SnapR system. You have to submit a PIN request submit. It's in our website. The website in here, you can find how to submit the access authorization. We would give you a company ID number called CIN. We'll call you a personal ID number called PIN. And after that, you can access our system. Okay, that's all. And I'm welcome question. Now I pass to our coordinator, Linda.
Thank you very much, George. Yes, now we'll open the telephone line to ask a voice question. To ask a voice question, please press *1 on your telephone. Once again, to ask a voice question, please press *1 on your telephone.
So far, we have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll start with our first written question. I have a first question here from Kim Lukey. Just one moment. The first question here is from Kim Lukey. She says, into what category would software fall?
Okay. The first, when you classify software, actually you should go through the similar process I mentioned. You go through commodities, the same thing. first thing you find out application of your software. Is your software for aerospace? Is your software for general industrial equipment? So you roughly know what category. So you find out the software related hardware. And you can even look at our index, find out the hardware. And after the hardware, so you identify the hardware ECCN number first. Go through the category, go through the product line, product A, B, C, D. Oh, I'm sorry. Software, of course, is D, right? Some category D, DR David. It's always D. Okay? So basically, you classify a commodity. Then go through the D section in that category. Find out the software control or not.
Okay, thank you. Next question here is from Brent Vanway. The term not elsewhere specified used in 7A994, is this an inclusionary statement that would keep items for navigation from going to EAR 99? For example, a bracket used to mount a piece of equipment on aircraft. Would it be a 7A994 or EAR 99?
Okay. Wherever you see not elsewhere specified, and I believe the word just like that without caveat, assuming there's no additional caveat, okay? Not elsewhere specified, that means the whole commerce control list. Unless you can see the caveat that word, not elsewhere specified. In general, as far as I remember, all the words without caveat. Therefore, that means the whole commerce control list, not in any control list. Of course, many times you will find out your commodity, maybe this ECCN, maybe this ECCN. I do agree, there are that situations. Could be two ECCNs. Looks almost both are eligible or applicable for your item. Then just pick one most close, or ask us which one is most close. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Okay, and then we'll take our last written question from Rebecca Lee. Please explain encryption items, EI.
Okay. Encryption items are all in category 5B, category 5, part 2. Okay? Category 5, part 2. And that's, you can go to category 5, part 2, okay? Or you can look at our regulation, part 742.15. Okay? Why I say this? Because again, I mentioned earlier, our encryption control, not just the regulations are different, but even the export control concept are quite different than any other export control. So you have to read that. And if you have more questions, you can contact our encryption division. Their telephone number is 202-482-0707.
Okay, thank you. And a couple more questions just came in, so we'll go through them. Nancy Franis' question is, can you please expand on the EAR-99?
Okay. Actually, depending on what do you mean by expand. The size, if I can, talk about the life size, the size of the ER-99 is like a universe, very big. Why? Because anything is not in the commerce control list is ER-99 if they are not by State Department, by other agencies. Okay, I said State Department control munitions, NRC control nuclear items, Energy Department control nuclear technology. If not any other items, of course, drug, certain drug control by our drug, some enforcement people. But whatever, ER-99 is very, 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 very big. There's no way we can expand the ER-99. The only thing I like to maybe repeat what ER-99 means. ER-99 means an item. Could be commodity, software, or technology. An item is subject to our regulation, Commerce Department regulation, EAR, Export Administration Regulations. But you cannot find in the CCL. Then it's ER99. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then our last question here from Susan Mason. What is the difference between equipment found in A and equipment found in B?
Okay. This is a very good question. Why? Because we made mistake about A and B. And honestly, some of our equipment should be A, where in B should be in A. Yeah. So if you remember what I said earlier, don't look A first, or don't decide it. What is A? Look B, C, D, and E. D is very easy, that's software. E is very easy, that's technology. C is material. Material usually means pure material or semi-product. If it's complete product, we don't call it material. Okay? But there are exceptions. In category 1, basically, material looks like material or semi-product. There are a few complete products, but just a few. Okay? So that's C. And B is very easy because the production equipment, inspection equipment, testing equipment. If not B, C, D, E, then it's A. But I do agree between A and B, the line is not as clear. Thanks.
Thank you, George. Okay, we'll take some more voice questions. So for those of you who still have a question, we will be opening the lines again one more time for any additional voice questions. And all you need to do is press star 1. Yeah, go ahead, George.
I may add one thing. An item belongs A and B. Sometimes it's in the eyes of beholder. Is that pretty or not?
And while we're waiting for any more voice questions, I have another question come in from the written portion from James Hanks. Is there a search index for ECCN numbers, something that will work off keywords, MFGs, part numbers, etc.?
The search index for ECCN number, no. We already have an index, and I personally believe that's a very, very good index because we list, I cannot say 100%, but I believe we list 99% all the product we control in the alphabetical list in front at the beginning of commerce control list. Something that will work off keyboard, manufacturing, partner. Okay. Now, in our website, there are a list of ECCN numbers published by the manufacturers. Those are voluntary approach. We cannot force the company to publish their ECCN number, but there are few, for example, like I know computer, which is used everywhere. That's why many computer companies publish their ECCNs. You can, in our website, you can find out. When you find out it's not exactly in our website will transfer you to another company website to see the ECCN number. Right now, there are some vendor software. They try to help people to find the correct ECCN number for your product. I cannot say they are bad, but I can say is they are not 100%, okay? Because even you want me to write the software to do a commodity classification for the whole 500 ECCN number, there's no way. And plus, remember, we have 500 ECCN number. You have how many products, commodities? You have as many as the universe, right? There's million, billion, billion, billions. There's no way a software can cover so many billion items. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. Okay, that concludes our written portion of the Q&A. And any more voice questions?
We do have a voice question from Denise Berry. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you. My area falls into Category 5, Information Security, and I'm looking for the list of items controlled that's referenced in the CCL under 5D002. I've been trying to find where that list is.
Yes. Okay, let me look right now because that's not my expertise area. But you say 58002?
Yes, 5D002, where the CCL tells you to go look at the list of items controlled.
Okay. Oh, should be right after that. 5D02. It should be 5B as boy or
D. I'm looking at the CCL.
Okay. 5D002, D as David. Okay, let me see here. Okay, it says list of our items, control, related, then item, yeah, it has items. They have paragraph A, B, D, yeah, 5D002, D as David. We do have paragraph. You look a little italic print called items. You saw the list of the items control.
So I'm just
right?
looking in Supplement 1 to Part 774?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You see it?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's here. Another question?
There are no further questions.
Okay, well then, I'd like to then conclude this webinar. I'd like to let everyone know, is there a contact, do you have a contact telephone number or website that they should refer to if they have any questions?
They go to the CIS website or call Export Account.
Okay, so call or go online at www.bis.doc.gov for the Bureau of Industry and Security's website for more information. Also, they have a export counseling line. That's 202-482-4811. I'd also like to thank all of our participants for their participation and time in this presentation, and also, of course, to George for his excellent presentation and his expertise on this subject. Please also check out www.export.gov, which is the U.S. Commercial Services website, which actually has the whole amount of webinars that are in this series. It's a great series. It's an opportunity for you to get all this information that would normally cost a lot more and take a lot more of your time. So please take advantage of participating in this webinar series. It ends Friday, and there are still, I believe, 5 or 6 more. And thank you once again just for your interest. And please check your email boxes for more information on our upcoming webinars. Thank you and goodbye.